1, 2, 3, 4. What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event, episode 83. Calling this bad boy Hakai. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this episode is called Hakai, but most importantly, how's your week been? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good, doing well, doing all right. As far as I know, it was a pretty good week. We're gonna get into it here. I just hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are living well. Hope everything is as you'd like it to be. You know what I'm saying? I hope everything is good. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys the social medias. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon 5. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, I know my handles. I was just like, I had my notes like in a weird spot, and I was like, wait, hold on. What is this? But yeah, if you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon 5 Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm pretty sure like the previous episodes that I've talked about YouTube, the episodes weren't uploaded to YouTube because I had copywritten music playing throughout it. Because I was jamming, you know what I'm saying? I like to jam from time to time, and I figured I'd jam with you guys, because why not? You're my people. You're my peeps. You're my main eventers. Or you're my babblers. That's what you are. I was like, what I should call them something. I should call my listeners something. And at first, I don't know why I played every thought back to you guys. First thought was Jermaine Eventers, because I'm your boy, Jermaine Event, or your main eventers. And then it was like nigga, my brain, and the next thought was like nigga. They just call them babblers. So what up, babblers? How you babblers doing? Everybody's babbling with me. But yeah, if you babblers are listening on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys are on Xbox, go ahead and add me. My gamer tag is SauceBoss414. Go ahead and, if you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys can check out the merchandise at teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod to support the podcast, get exclusive content. You'll get this episode early every Sunday instead of Monday. And whatever bonus content I like to throw up there, as I told you guys, once we get to 50, then we'll go on with the vlogs of I Digress. And I've stepped it up a little bit. I'd say it's a lot. I got this light here. It's like what TikTokers use or whatever, and I've tested it a little bit. It looks pretty amazing. It's what I use to shoot the Feel Like No One video. I used my wife's, and I just got another one because she uses it for work, which she does. And yeah, so it looks pretty good. But I was trying to figure out another way to record the videos without having to. I was trying to figure it out with OBS, but I figure I'm gonna have to record it via camera and then import the video and add in and edit it. But whatever, it is what it is. Just go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod, get those patrons up, and we will continue on with the vlog of I Digress, ladies and gentlemen. And lastly, if you guys are on TikTok, go ahead and add your boy at Babylon 5 Podcast. I possibly have Jermaine Event on there also, or possibly My Name's Jermaine, but then, because I think I initially signed up for TikTok when it started getting popular, a little before the pandemic, and then my wife was giving me shit for using a child's app. But y'all know, because I do music, so like everything that I'm reading is telling me that as an artist, we all need to be on TikTok in some capacity. Otherwise, you're just limiting your visibility. You know what I'm saying? You need to be on all avenues if you can, or you're just limiting your visibility. So, yeah. So, I forget why I said that. Oh, the TikTok. Yeah, I'm on TikTok. So I possibly have another account on there that I don't think I've uploaded anything to. But yeah, follow me at Babylon 5 Podcast on TikTok. Because yeah, that's where it was. That's what I'm saying. I created it previously, and then my wife gave me shit, and then the pandemic happened. Her work got shut down, and then she was home. I was at work all the time, and she got into TikTok, like, oh, it's so cool. And I'm like, oh, that child's app that you shamed me for. And now she loves it. But so now and by that point I was like, well, let's just push everything. Music, podcasts. If I got jokes, it all should be filtered through the Babylon 5 brand is what I was thinking. So that's why I just decided to go with the Babylon 5 on TikTok. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm usually the most active on the Babylon 5 page. I've been way more active past couple months on the My Name's Jermaine page, but Babylon 5 is definitely where I'm most active, ladies and gentlemen. The wife and I, this past weekend, last week, well, we got back yesterday. But we took a little short vacation to Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's a nice looking little college town. It reminded me a lot of Madison when I lived in Madison. The city was pretty similar, you know what I'm saying? And the whole vibe, it was a cool little small town. I'm all about small towns. I used to think about I used to talk about moving to Ithaca back in the day. That was the thing I would always talk about. I'm just all about small college towns, just not too much of a hustle and bustle. You know what I'm talking about, young boy? You know what I'm talking about? But nah, it was a cool little town. It reminded me of Madison. It also reminded me of being fucking harassed by fucking just homeless people. Just the endless amounts of homeless people. Because, well, man, I remember in Madison, it was they were way more aggressive in Madison. I remember one time I was walking with my roommate Garrett, and I think his girlfriend was there. It was me, Garrett, his girlfriend, I think another dude, and Garrett and the other dude were walking in front of us, and me and old girl Taylor were kind of next to each other talking and walking, and it was just it was like four homeless dudes sitting over here on this bench, and but just one of them, the biggest dude, probably 6'3" black dude, dressed in nice fucking clothes. I just remember how fancy the homeless people would look. I was like, man, where y'all getting this shit from? Cause y'all clothes are better than mine. Y'all dress better than me. But I remember we walking by, and he was like, hey, fuck your bitch. Just screaming all this shit at me. He's screaming it to me because he thinks the girl that I'm walking with is my girl, but it's definitely not. And so, that's why I'm just man, well, one, I'm not about to get jumped by these dudes for this random 17-year-old stripper that I didn't even really want to hang out with. But I was just fuck, man. Are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy? You're screaming this nonsense to people as they're walking down the street? I mean, I'm pretty sure Garrett was there. I think he heard. So, some of my niggas talking about fucking his bitch. And he ain't say shit. It ain't had nothing to do with me. That was it. It ain't had nothing to do with me. But them niggas used to be aggressive in Madison. I'd say it was mainly just a lot of panhandling in Ann Arbor. But I remember, when we first got to Ann Arbor, I remember, it's Sarah's, rifle. She's, messing around with the lockbox or whatever. And I see this fiend looking person, like woman, kind of like walking in the street, like the middle of the street. And then like I like turned away, like I'm just like facing my wife. She was like putting in the code for the lockbox to get the key out so we get in the Airbnb. And all of a sudden I just hear like, what's them rooms like up there? And I turn on the light, and she's not too close. You know what I'm saying? She's like in the street, but like in front of like our rental. She's like standing in the street in front of our rental. But I don't think she knew that was ours, because like she came a little bit later. But either way, she's like standing in the street in between like in front of our rental, but there's like another car. She's like in between the two cars. She's standing there. She's like, what's it like in those rooms up there? Or what's them rooms like? And that's the only reason why I'm humoring this conversation is just because my wife is messing around with the box, trying to get the combination right so we can get in here. And I'm like, I don't know, it's just a room. Because, like, I don't even know how to answer that question. What's them rooms like? Not even, like, in a slang term. Like, if someone's like, oh, what are the rooms like up there? It's like, what are you talking about? It's a fucking room. Like, have you ever rented a fucking room? Have you ever, like, I don't know. Like, it's not a fucking multi-level fucking house that I'm renting. I mean, you can if you want to, but you clearly know that these are apartments up here. This fucking crackhead had some information of what was going on, of what it was like in these rooms. But I'm just like, dude, I don't know. It's just a room. And she's just like, what is she saying? She was like, oh, how do you book one of those rooms? And I'm like, fucking Airbnb. You just go on Airbnb. And she's just like, what's that? And at this point, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. You ain't never heard of Airbnb? Why are we even having this conversation? Like, I was like, this fucking lady. Crackhead ass lady. And at this point, my wife, she's got the keys, or I think she's getting the keys out there, trying to fudge it around, and like, she's like messing around, trying to get in the door. And this lady's like, well, how do you do it? How do you spell Airbnb? And I was like, how do you spell Airbnb? She's like, yeah, I don't know how to spell it. Like, I want to check out the rooms. And I'm like, air, the word air, the letter B, and the letter B. And then my wife was thankfully like, come on, babe. Like, she opened the door, and it was like, fuck it, let's get out of here. I ain't got time for this nonsense-ass conversation. But it's just like, when I like to do research in my own ways, and like a lot of things that I was seeing was like, there's like, people were saying like aggressive meth heads in the city. And I was like, okay, that lady was wild, but I was like, I don't know. But then it was just like every time we like stepped out of that apartment, and every time we stepped out on the street, it'd be either like a new homeless dude or like the same homeless dude, but he's gaining friends, and now they're all asking for things. And they're just like all over the streets, man. It's just like, I mean, where else do they go? Where else do they go? But I don't know. I was telling my wife in Madison, they made it illegal for, I think, homeless people to be within 100 feet of the ATM. And that cleared up State Street because, yeah, there's like an ATM like probably every like 50 feet on State Street. Like every little business over here, like just on the walls, there was just like random ATMs all over State Street. And that law passed, and it was like, no more fucking gangs of fucking homeless dudes talking shit. Like that time with that girl, and he was talking about like, fuck your bitch and all that. That wasn't the only time niggas like screamed some harassment. Like they were trying to start an altercation. And it'd be like that time it was just 4 when I was walking with those guys. That time it was just 4. When they were on State Street, this wasn't State Street. It was a couple blocks away. But when they were on State Street, man, it'd be like a group of 10 people standing on the corner talking shit and asking for change. All dressed better than everybody they're asking for money from. It was fucking wild. It's like their fucking mobster gang from the 40s. Like, if you're looking at how they're dressed, Like, nice shoes, fucking nice fucking, what's that, the trench coats. They got fucking, they're fucking dressed nice. I'm sitting here like a fucking bum. And I'm just like, nigga, I ain't got no fucking change. Are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy? And they're just talking shit to everybody as they're walking by. It's wild. That was Madison. Thankfully, I mean, I say one of the last days, right? This Friday. That's when there started to be a group starting to gather by where we, like, probably around the last time we like just went grocery shopping or whatever just to make dinner. We were just gonna kick it in for the night. But by that point, it was like earlier in the day. It was just like started out with one homeless dude, and then it started to, like, he had a buddy with him. It was like, oh, he's picking up steam. And now they just, like, those dudes weren't saying anything. They're just staring. Like, kind of like plotting or some shit. I didn't like that. I'd rather if they asked me something. If they asked for something. But nah. They just kept staring with these fucking evil fucking... They had some plotting ass looks. Maybe they were high, because niggas said there's aggressive meth heads. But I just know, like, when the niggas was alone, they were asking for things. But when the numbers got increased, niggas just stared as we walked by. So it's pretty weird. Maybe they need to make some laws, like that no homeless people within 100 feet of a restaurant that had gone out of business. Just an empty restaurant. Because it's like half the businesses there were just empty buildings. Like, oh, this used to be that. And it's just an empty space. For rent, like every other building was just something that went out of business. I don't know if that's a product of COVID, but it was just like, damn. Like every other spot is closed. Just an empty building. It's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. But I mean, I see it happening here with COVID. And I'm curious if that's why, but I don't know. But all in all, other than, like, I probably wouldn't want to stay downtown with a level of activity. Like, I remember people, like, I was reading online and they were like, pretty much, it's like the sixth safest city in Michigan. And they were saying pretty much crimes only really happen around the frat houses. And it's like, man, nigga, that is the whole downtown. It's like the whole downtown is the college, like, and that's where the crimes happen. It's like those fucking, it's just a sea of fucking homeless addicts. It's just a sea of them all over the place. Plotting. Where I don't know what they're doing. Like, when I remember we were walking, and there was just a guy just, like, off in this little corridor just staring, just mean mugging people as we went by, and it's just like, dude, what the fuck is going on here? Like, it's like all the fucking college students are walking around like it's a great day. It's nice outside. But then you just got all the fucking homeless that are just off, just all scattered about, just fucking looking so fucking pissed off. I mean, they're homeless. What is that shit? Bitch, I live in a trash can. Nobody's helping me. Like, it's like Oscar the Grouch, the Dave Chappelle skit. Bitch, I live in a fucking trash can. Maybe that's what it is. I'm like, why are all these homeless people looking so angry? Bitch, I live in a fucking trash can. You know what I'm saying? Where have I gone with my life? Who are you, Jermaine? Sitting here asking questions like, why are these homeless people looking so angry? What do they have to be happy about? It's like black people singing Negro spirituals because they're having a good time. Nigga, no. No, you're trying to put yourself elsewhere and send messages. Did that make any sense? I don't know. I think it did when I said it. When it came out, I thought it made sense. But moving on, man. So this episode is called Hakai. Hakai, ladies and gentlemen. And it's got to be called Hakai. Because I be seeing these niggas on the internet, you know, talking they shit. Niggas don't know. I'm of the opinion, ladies and gentlemen, that words matter, okay? Words matter. What you say, how you phrase things, and especially if we're talking about text, if we're talking about a book, if we're talking about a comic, a conversation, a dialogue, how certain things are phrased matters to me. So the latest episode of Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 70, you have the new character Granola, who makes a wish to instantly become the strongest warrior in the universe outside of the gods. And that wish came with a condition, right? And the condition is that, as they explain in this chapter, Granola is a cerulean. He's about 50, he's almost 50 years, probably like 47 at this point, right? He's 47. And his people, his race of people apparently live for 200 years on average. And so the condition of the wish is that in order to make him the strongest in the universe, he'd have to forego 150 of his years. So he only has 3 years left to live. All right? He has 3 years left to live. They put that condition, but this is an issue that I have, right? Like 5 chapters ago in the previous arc, like literally 5 chapters ago, 5 months ago, if you will, with the character Moro started to fucking explode. He was expanding and exploding because he suddenly gained too much power than his body was used to having. It was like 5 chapters ago, maybe 6. His body wasn't used to having that much power, and he started to explode. All right? 5 chapters later, possibly 6, another character makes a wish to become the strongest warrior in the universe. The dragon says, yo, that's honestly beyond your capabilities. So in order to do that, we'd have to take 150 years off of your lifespan, because that much power is far beyond your capabilities. He's like, all right, cool. He gets the wish is granted, and he gets this power, and there's no, hey, we just said 5 chapters ago that Moro's body's expanding because he's not used to having this much power. But Granola becomes the most powerful warrior in a second, with a wish, going far beyond his limits, according to that dragon. And there's nothing that happens. I get that there was that condition. They took away the years of his life because it's beyond his limitations. So they took away years off his life, but how is his body somehow able to suddenly control that power in an instant? But Moro, who was far stronger than Granola, for a long time, his body was used to like higher power levels, like suddenly started to explode because it was too much power to take in at one time. Not only does Granola become the strongest warrior in the world, which is just the one wish that he made, he gets like new abilities. He gets new abilities. And he knows how to use them instantly. Knows how to use them. They mentioned in the arc in Dragon Ball Super, they mentioned not in this arc, a while ago in Dragon Ball Super, ladies and gentlemen, that Frieza learned to sense power. He didn't know how to do it back in the day. Most people don't know how to they don't know how to sense power, and that's why they all use scouters. You know, the whole like, oh, it's over 9,000. That's he's reading off his scouter, because sensing people's power, sensing their energy, isn't an ability that everybody just has. But Granola makes the wish to become the most powerful warrior in the universe outside the gods, and he instantly, for whatever reason, just knows how to do this ability that they told us Golden Frieza had to learn. had to train and learn to master that ability, but somehow this guy just does it. Not only does he do that, ladies and gentlemen, he fucking learns the Hakai. He learns a technique of the gods and instantly knows how to do it. He learns the Hakai, ladies and gentlemen. And that's where the debate comes. I've seen online, a lot of people are like, it's not a Hakai, it just looks like that. There's no proof that it's a Hakai. And I've seen all this nonsense. I've seen this guy, he's got a popular YouTube channel, so he likes to just be like, I'm saying this and I know a lot about Dragon Ball, so I'm right. And it's like, nigga, you just have an opinion, you're not right. But here you're so wrong, because they were saying how, this is clearly not a Hakai. And I think their reasoning was because it just wouldn't make sense for a mortal, just all these fucking mortals, just to be able to do this ability. And he's saying there would have been nobody there to teach him. But also, there would have been nobody there to teach him how to sense fucking abilities. His roommate, the Namekian who made the Dragon Balls, when he tells him, I can't sense Frieza's energy, he's like, what? You know how to do that? His friend is shocked that he knows how to do this. So he didn't teach him this. He just made a wish and suddenly mastered this ability. So he uses his power to lift a fucking boulder and uses a Hakai to destroy it. And it explodes, ladies and gentlemen. It explodes. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, so here we are. So here we are. I'm looking at the chapter here. I want to just make sure that I get this right. So he picks up the boulder. It explodes. He explodes it with a Hakai. And I say that it's a Hakai because he blows it up, and then in his text, he's got a little AI thing that speaks to him, and it says the boulder exploded. What technique was that? That's what the fucking person speaking to him in his ear is saying. What? He said the boulder exploded. What technique was that? This is why I'm saying words matter. And his friend, he says, that was quite the shock wave. He says that was quite the shock wave. All right? Those are my clues to you. That's why I say words matter. He says they use the word exploded. It exploded. What technique was that? And his friend also, when he felt the blast, said, what was that shock wave? I believe it was explained in the previous chapter, because I'm not seeing it here. So I'm guessing it was explained in chapter 69. Beerus explained that when you use the Hakai to destroy matter, like energy burst, there's a burst of energy, an explosion. Yeah, he says that it releases energy. And he was like, the explosion is the best part. This is what Beerus explains happens when you use the Hakai. That energy bursts from the matter that you've destroyed, and it makes an explosion. And when I look up the definition of shockwave, it says strong pressure wave in any elastic medium such as air, water, or solid substance produced by supersonic aircraft, explosions, lightning, or other phenomenon that create violent changes in pressure. So, the shockwave, his friend feels it. He feels the ripple effects of the explosion. He felt the shock wave. These are clues that they're putting in here that this man just mastered the Hakai. A lot of people were like, no, it wouldn't make sense that he just did it. None of it made sense. It doesn't make sense that he mastered all these abilities. Like, why doesn't he have to train? Like, I understand that your power levels are super high, but you shouldn't, no one has to teach you any abilities. You just know these abilities. People should have to teach you. You should still have to learn these abilities. Actually, no, yeah, it had to be 70. I'm saying I'm looking for when Beerus is explaining this whole thing. So it's just silly to me that people just say, oh, nope, this didn't happen because it wouldn't make sense. But it's like, dude, they're telling you in this dialogue that this is what's happening. Oh, man, it's crazy. I don't see it in here. And I just skimmed through, 69. And I'm not really seeing too much of Beerus at all. I could have sworn this was the issue where he burns the God comics. But yet I'm not seeing it in here. I just want to, reiterate the words. Oh, I don't know what's going on because this isn't the end of the chapter. But it's all that loaded up for me. That's pretty whack. For some reason, I can't find the whole chapter. Can't find it. Can't find it. But, that's what it was, all right? Beerus fucking told this man it would be an explosion of energy. So that, ladies and gentlemen, makes it a Hakai. And I think that's pretty fucking dumb that Granola just somehow is able to master all these abilities. He should only just know his own abilities. You know how when Vegeta went to the last planet and he learned fission, whatever, the spirit fission. He learned the spirit fission and the Force Spirit Fission, I think that's what it's called. But before that, they were teaching him techniques, and all of a sudden, it raised his energy. And he's using his own abilities that he already knows, and they're amplified. And he didn't expect them to be this amplified, but his training it surprised him. He didn't suddenly know new abilities that weren't taught to him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't suddenly learn new abilities. He just suddenly was better, more powerful with what he had already known. God damn it. I'm still trying to find it. I can't. What the fuck? Every time I think I find it, it's like, nope, you didn't find it. I'm on something that's oh, okay, I'm stupid. Oh, so here it is. Bam. I'm that last one. I thought it was way before there. So here we go with Vegeta trying to do the Hakai. And he blows up this small rock and Beer says that's just a regular ki blast. When gods use our destruction move, the target is completely erased from destruction. Then he does it, right? He demonstrates. And he's like, we turn something into nothing. And when matter is destroyed, it releases heaps of energy. And then that's when he blows it up. And he says, the explosion's the real highlight of using destruction. That right there, Beerus' comments right here, and then later on the Shockwave comments, is them telling you that he fucking, in an instant, learned Hakai. Here we go. That was quite the Shockwave, and the person in his ear, who I think is, I forget his name, Granola, and I forget the name of the other guy, but it says, the boulder exploded. What technique was that? Ladies and gentlemen, that technique was the Hakai. So I just need to get that off my chest and let you niggas know, just educate you niggas that words matter. It's just right there in the dialogue. They keep telling you what it is when someone uses the Hakai. What happens? And then what happened when he used that ability? That the person seeing it seeing it happen is like, what was that? It exploded. They're telling you, the shockwaves. It's all right there. So Granola becomes the strongest and somehow instantly knows how to use God of Destruction techniques. It's pretty silly, but they're gonna there's the characters called the Heaters, and they're trying to take over Frieza's army. So they're trying to get a way to get Granola to fight the Saiyans so that the Saiyans can kill Granola, because they want to kill Frieza so that they can take over Frieza's army. And they know since Granola is now the strongest in the universe, they can't send him to Frieza because he'll destroy Frieza's army. And they need Frieza's army to take over the fucking universe. So that's that. It's an interesting little chapter, but it's like, that didn't make sense why he shouldn't be able to do any of these abilities. Like, he shouldn't be able to do a Hakai. He shouldn't be able to even sense energy where people are. He shouldn't have that ability without them having some other character teaching him this. But characters shouldn't be shocked. The people that know him, that are around him, shouldn't be shocked at seeing his abilities. They shouldn't be shocked. They should be shocked at seeing how strong he is, how powerful he is, but not new techniques instantly. That should not be a thing. It's pretty silly. But I'm looking forward to Chapter 71 coming out 4/20, ladies and gentlemen. Can't wait. UFC, we got Paulo Costa pulls out a fight with Robert Whittaker. So Kelvin Gastelum steps in to replace him. That's going to be a rebooking of the fight they were supposed to have, I think 3 years ago, which turned into, Robert Whittaker pulled out, he had to have like emergency surgery, like I think the night before he had to have emergency surgery, which set up Israel Adesanya to fight Anderson Silva in the main event. It was the co-main event for that card, and they bumped it up to the main event, and then we got Israel Adesanya fighting Kelvin Gastelum after that for the interim belt. And now we're finally going to get, hopefully, Kelvin Gastelum versus Robert Whittaker. It's going to be a good fight. I don't know. I don't know what happens here. I honestly don't know how good Kelvin Gastelum is. You know, he could go in there and do some things and really surprise me. Like, he could look great, but he go out there and look like make some really dumb decisions. Like, he goes in there sometimes and looks amazing. Like, he looks like a great fighter, and then it's like, dude, where's his fight IQ? Why is he doing this? So it's like, I don't know what Kelvin we're going to get. Kelvin's in a lot better shape. I was watching a clip of Kelvin and Robert Whittaker racing. Well, they were like it was like the first people I think it was probably a mile. They're just running around the track. It was like first person to do like 13 laps wins, and fucking Gastelum's like just gassing, puking, like going off to the side, just vomiting, and like Robert Whittaker's just coasting. So like, but I feel like Gastelum looks like he's in much better shape. So like, if we get Gastelum at the top of his game, I still don't know what that fight looks like between a top of his game Gastelum and a top of his game Robert Whittaker. I think it'll look like a fucking great fight. I think it has the potential to be a great fucking fight, so I'm excited for that. I'd much rather see that fight than Whittaker-Costa anyway. I think Costa should have fell back a little more in the rankings, but I understand he lost to the champion, but I don't know. But that's happening April 17th, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Also, we got T.J. Dillashaw booked for his return versus Corey Sandhagen. We got that May 8th. So I'm excited to see that. T.J. Dillashaw versus Corey Sandhagen. Not sure how I feel about, the whole use of steroids as far as fighting. I mean, as far as like baseball is concerned, let them use roids, is how I felt. And that's how everybody feels. Deep down inside, I know outwardly you're like, it's wrong, it's against the rules, fuck you for cheating. But when the nigga came out there with fucking Hulk Hogan arms as big as Hulk Hogan's, knocking shit out of the fucking stadium in a way never before seen, everybody was like, oh, this is so amazing. I'm so glad he plays for my team. And then they were like, hey, that dude with fucking Hulk Hogan arms that fucking knocked the ball out of the fucking stadium in a way that no one had ever done before, and he did it about 100 times, that guy was on steroids. And they're like, no, take away Ryan Braun's restaurant. Take away his restaurants. How dare he use steroids? How dare you? And it's like, fuck, dude. If he didn't use those steroids, would I have had all those great times at the Brewer games? Cheering on fucking Braun and CeCe Sabathia and Prince Fielder? I was out there at those games, ladies and gentlemen. I was there before they found out. And I was like, dude, that Ryan Braun guy's fucking awesome. I loved him. I'm not even a baseball guy. But when Ryan Braun came to the fucking Brewers, guess what? I was a baseball guy. I fucked with Ryan Braun. And ladies and gentlemen, guess what? There's no separation of the two. Without those steroids, I don't start watching the Brewers. Because he's not that player without the steroids, clearly. So, TJ Dillashaw is coming back after testing positive for EPO, which is the same shit that, what's his name? The Livestrong guy, Lance Armstrong. The same shit Lance Armstrong got caught using. TJ Dillashaw got caught using. He's banned for a year, I believe. And now he's coming back. His first fight is the number one contenders fight against Corey Sandhagen. I think it's going to be a great fight. So I just don't know if he's actually not still using steroids now, how good is he right now? Is that going to take away from the former champion? He was champion when he was stripped. He tested positive as the champion. So is he as good as the champion level TJ Dillashaw that was there a year ago? Or 2 years ago? I forget how long ago it was. I think probably 2 years. Is he that guy? I don't know. I've seen him in the photos. He's it looks like he's been putting on a lot of muscle over the past 2 years. So, I don't know. Which TJ do we get? And Corey Sandhagen has been looking fucking phenomenal lately. So, I don't know. I think that has the potential to be a great fight. I think I can't really necessarily make it because we haven't seen TJ in so long. And if he's not on the roids, is he still Ryan Braun knocking it out of the fucking park? You know what I'm saying? Without the roids. Is he still knocking it out of the fucking park? So, I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what we're going to get. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest news of the weekend. Charles Oliveira will fight Michael Chandler May 15th at UFC 262 for the vacant lightweight championship. They officially strip Khabib Nurmagomedov. And it's fucking awesome. They should have let Conor and Dustin Poirier at least fight for an interim belt. He even came back now and said he never even considered coming back to fight anybody. He never even considered coming back. So if that's the case, then why'd you hold... He was like, I would never hold the division hostage. So then why wasn't Dustin Poirier the number 2, number 3, number 1, or he's either 1 or 2 at the time that he fought Conor. I think Conor was 3, by some fucking craziness. Conor was either 4 or 3, and Poirier was number 1. And they didn't fight for the belt because they were like, oh, there's a chance Khabib's coming back. He's having meetings. He's like, oh, Khabib's coming back. I think I can get him to come back. And now he's like, dude, it was never even a thing. I was never coming back. So, like, you held up the division while saying, oh, well, I would never hold up the division, only to do just that. And part of me is like, did he just want to wait until after the Conor McGregor fight to just make sure that Conor wasn't going to become the next champion? Like, just as an extra fuck you to Conor? I think that's possible. Because if he never fucking had any intention of coming back to fight anyone, then I don't know. It's kind of weird that he just waited until after that fight to be like, yeah, I was never coming back. But Khabib retires, and of course Conor said he made Khabib straight from his big Irish balls. That was pretty funny. But I say the most interesting thing, John Bones Jones, ladies and gentlemen. He says when they announced the retirement, John Bones Jones posted this on Instagram, then deleted it. He says, nothing wrong with going out on top. Enjoy retirement, champ. And it's like a medal ceremony. And it's got like the guy getting him, like they're putting a medal on him. And it says Khabib on it, right? And the medal, it says 4 title wins. Khabib's like biting the gold, celebrating, doing his whole thing, got popping bottles. He's Khabib. And then it shows the whole podium, and Khabib's at the bottom. He's the lowest point of the whole, like, the podiums. He's the lowest podium with 4 title wins. John Jones is at the top, 14 title wins. GSP, 13 title wins. Demetrius Johnson, 12 title wins, title fight defenses, or just title wins. Anderson Silva, 11 title wins. Jose Aldo, 8 title wins. Stipe, 6 title wins. And it's like, fuck, man. I remember, like, John Jones was upset when they were talking about, they put Khabib as the pound-for-pound best fighter after he beat Justin Gaethje, just because he was like, I deserve it, put me in number 1. And they did it. And he was like, yo, how is he number 1? What are we talking about? And then I was like, oh, he's just hating. Of course he's going to feel that type of way. But if you put it like that, it's like, nah, he's kind of like, well, he's definitely not above John Jones as far as, like, if we were talking about at the time active fighters, then he's clearly not ahead of John Jones. It's just, but Khabib's officially done. We're getting Oliveira versus Chandler, man. Right, my heart is Oliveira, but I'm going to have to look more into this whole fight and really give y'all a pick when we get closer to the fight. But I'm so happy, you know. I told y'all Oliveira was most likely a future champion. I didn't know it could possibly happen this quickly, you know. I didn't know it was going to possibly happen this quickly. I thought maybe he could be the one to beat Khabib because he's got real jiu-jitsu and he's good off his back, but that's never happening. So it is what it is. Most interesting thing about that fight being booked is that it was originally reported that they were working on Justin Gaethje to fight Michael Chandler. And then he says that, like, he just got passed on. He said he woke up, went to the gym to train. He was in his training camp for Michael Chandler. And he was just starting his training camp for Michael Chandler because it was reported that he was fighting Michael Chandler. And he said, but then all of a sudden he just sees that they booked Oliveira versus Michael Chandler for the belt. And he's just like, they passed on him. So that's just pretty random there. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think it's pretty nutty. Maybe Gaethje could fight Nate Diaz. I don't mean to laugh, but because I think he'd probably knock Nate Diaz out. Nate Diaz was talking shit like, I've never been stopped before. And it's like, I think that would be the time. I think that would be the fight. I'm pretty sure he's been stopped before. I could be wrong. I mean, it'd be pretty silly for him to just make that claim and pretty funny for him to make that claim and not have and then have been stopped. That would be pretty silly. I mean, he got technically stopped by the doctor stoppage, but he's talking about like getting curled up, knocked out, put to sleep, and all that. He says like, that's never happened to me. You never seen me like these guys tapping out and doing all that. So it's like, okay, we'll fight Justin. You said you want to fight these 155ers. Fight Justin. I'm pretty sure he's down. But UFC Vegas 22 just happened. You had Grant Dawson officially move into lightweight, and he had a tough outing there, is what it looks like. It was a pretty tough fight. A lot of grappling, and he seemed to like, as I'm watching the fight, dude, like live, it's like it seemed like he was getting outstruck. He was catching the guy. He would catch like Leonardo Santos with like this overhand left, I believe, and or it was possibly right, who knows. But Santos was the better striker. He had more weapons. He was better in the grappling, is what it looked like. He was attacking submissions, and it looked like toward the end of that fight that like pretty much Santos was just seconds away from a victory. He was attempting a heel hook, so he's got his leg he's got Grant Dawson's leg kind of wrapped up. Santos is laying on his back, and his leg's like wrapped up, and he's pretty much just like laying there coasting till the end of the fight. It's like 10 seconds left. Grant Dawson's like standing, and he just fucking, as seconds are ticking down, just reaches down and just starts fucking hammer fisting this man's fucking chin, who's just laying there, relaxed, trying to coast until the end of the fight. And with 2 seconds left, Grant Dawson knocks Leonardo Santos out cold. It's the first time Leonardo Santos has lost in the UFC, and he hasn't lost in 12 years until he met Grant Dawson. But it looked like Grant Dawson was losing that fight. He said he thought he was losing that fight at the end, and he did what he had to do with 2 seconds left to make sure it didn't go to the judges, and he possibly could have lost that fight as he believed he was doing. His team told him they thought he was down 2 rounds and he needed a finish. But they went to the judges' scorecard, and it turns out he had won 2 rounds on 2 judges' scorecards. So, yeah, he was pretty much going to win that fight regardless. But he took it from the judges. He thought he was losing. It seemed like to me, seemed like to the commentators, seemed like to Grant Dawson's coaches, and to the very relaxed Leonardo Santos, who's just laying on the canvas, waiting for the time to expire. It seemed like pretty much to everybody, including Grant Dawson, everyone involved, that the fight was going one way, and Grant would not accept that. He did everything he could to win that fight, and he did. Now jumping forward to the main event. And last week I was saying like, dude, Kevin Holland, he did the knockout from his back, yada yada. And then I started thinking, like, as the week was going on, I was like, okay, that's hype. Like, the way he knocked him out is a freak way that, like, you know, it doesn't tell you, I forget who was talking about it, maybe like these guys on Fight Night Picks. And there's like, that fight doesn't tell you that Kevin Holland is a better fighter than Jacare. That's a freak thing that happened. It just tells you that he knocked him out. You know, Conor McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds. Does that tell you 100% that Conor McGregor is a better fighter than Jose Aldo? No. It tells you that he knocked him out in 13 seconds before there was even a real exchanges, before you got to really see anything at all. So, and I was thinking about that and thinking about how, like, his losses that I've seen, and I was thinking about how solid Brunson has been. He's got better, but he's got great takedowns, great ground and pound. And in the fight with, like, Derek Stewart, Kevin Holland's cardio definitely failed him then. And I'm like, those kind of styles kind of spell disaster. And if you follow me on Instagram, I posted that that I believed that Brunson should be the favorite in every category except hype. But he was the underdog going into this one. And they were showing commercials all through the fucking show. It's like, here's Kevin Holland at the fucking jewelry store, like fucking buying diamond rings and shit like that. Iced out rings with his fucking, let's say TB, because his nickname's Trailblazer. And I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Like, as I'm seeing that commercial, like, that's just ridiculous. He's just like, now I'm buying chains and all this. He's just buying all this gaudy shit. And it's like, oh, that's terrible. And then they show another promo where it's like, here is Kevin Holland's shoe collection. And it's like, he's like, I paid $1,500 for these shoes. Look at them. They're yellow and furry. And then they got green fur over here. It was like some Nikes or whatever. I was like, that's fucking stupid. You pay $1,500 for those shoes. Then he pulls out these other shoes. He's like, yeah, these are $6,000 each. And it's like, well, the $6,000 shoes look fucking phenomenal. I'll tell you that. Like, the $1,500 Nikes that he's spending that look like fucking $60, $80 Nikes. Like, just any fucking pair of Nikes you buy at a fucking ghetto-ass fucking Silver Star. That was fucking, I was like, dude, this is what, I was like, fuck, dude, they're pushing this guy super hard here, but I was like, these are terrible things. You're spending all your money on, like, just shoes and jewelry and clothes, bro. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, so I was just like, man, I was like, and there was no promo about Derek Brunson, no. Oh, well, here's what Derek Brunson's doing with his life. He's a father of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. There was none of that. None of that at all. It was just, here's how cool Kevin Holland is. All that hype. Kevin Holland talking all week. Hugging Brunson, smacking him on the butt. Holland went for a leg kick. Slips early. And ended up on the ground getting beat up. And he used to do a body lock with his leg, did a body triangle to wrap around Brunson instead of trying to stand up. Now, it shouldn't take a genius. It shouldn't take anyone. It shouldn't take a simpleton. It shouldn't take a genius to see that if you wrap your legs and tie them up around someone's body, you're not going to be able to then stand. So, the second the fight went to the ground, he slipped, and the fight went to the ground, and he wraps his legs around Brunson. So he immediately just accepted that position, or he just didn't know how to get out of that position. He just chose to stay on the ground. And it was funny, what was interesting was earlier in the fight, I forget who tripped. I think it was probably JP Buys. He slipped, and somebody who slipped, and what's his name? Michael Bisping was saying that the blue part of the mat in the octagon are usually much more slippery than the logo. So he tries to wait until he's in the logo before he throws kicks. He said, just as a fighter who's been in there, that's just something that he's noticed. So later on, in the main event, Holland throws a kick in the first round and slips, and just can't get up from the ground. He's pretty much chooses to be there because he wraps his legs around. He does a body lock. He like a leg triangle around his body just to keep in that position on the ground. It was pretty wild. So I gave that a 10-8 for Brunson. Holland is landing fucking heavy hands in the second, though. And while he's chatting with Khabib, who is sitting octagon side, he's sitting there watching the fights with Dana White, and Holland is just talking to Khabib, and he hurt him. He hurt Brunson, and he almost finished him in the second. He was almost able to finish him, but Brunson got a takedown, and but he didn't do anything with it then. But then Holland was able to get up. He was able to get up at this point, but it was instantly taken back down. And while he's on the ground getting punched on his back, He's on his back getting punched in the face, and he's still like just like looking out to Khabib, like, come on, Khabib, tell me what to do. What do I do here, Khabib? So he's just still talking to Khabib. So I got to score that 19-18 Brunson. So I gave that round to Holland just because he hurt him more on the feet, and there wasn't a lot of damage done on the ground when Brunson got him down. He just was kind of surviving after taking all that damage. Round 3, Holland is landing again, but he's like lunging into shit and like he's lunging into it and sliding. He's falling into Derek Brunson. He's just like out of control with his strikes. And so he's landing again, but like getting taken down because he's just like all over the place, like super sloppy. And Brunson is like tired, and Holland is throwing elbows from bottom and striking. Like it was like the best he looked, I felt like, from bottom. He's throwing these elbows in the third here. But that was pretty much like all he really did at all. Like Holland just kept this leg triangle, kept the legs around the body, locked around the body to stay in the bottom there for whatever reason. So I give that round to Brunson. Then you got round 4. It's the first time either fighter has ever gone to the fourth, ladies and gentlemen. Derek Brunson has never in his career been to the fourth round. He's knocking niggas out. Blah, blah. I mean, motherfuckers don't always fight 5-round fights, so that that factors into it as well. But dude, Holland looked fresh. He's like jumping around. He looked fresh, and Brunson looks very visibly tired. Holland's landing, and he stuffed the first 2 takedown attempts. He was looking great to start this round, but Brunson is able to get him down on the third attempt. And Holland is just like still being goofy on the ground, like just joking, like no urgency, just on the ground, joking, body lock, talking shit still. And with about a minute left, he like has a burst of energy and gets up. Like he suddenly knew how to get up in the last minute of the round. And Holland is like still all smiles at the end of the round, like, and I'm like, dude, is this bravado or something? He's just trying to like seem tough because you're getting just controlled and like you're staying in this position. You're not trying to get up, but in an instant here, you decided you wanted to get up and you got up. But other moments, you're just choosing to stay down on the ground with your legs locked around this man's fucking body, his torso. Like, I didn't understand that. But so after the fourth round, Holland goes to his corner. His corner's like, "Come on, man, you got this. You can do this. You can do this, man." And he just like he wasn't saying anything to him, mind you. In the like between the rounds, as Holland is going to his corner, he's talking to Khabib, man. He's talking to Khabib the whole time. He's not really communicating with his corner at all. He's just chatting with Khabib. Like, come on, Khabib, put on a jacket and come help me, man. I could stop all these takedowns. Just come help me. Just come be my corner. Like, he's just chatting with Khabib, not talking to his cornerman. And so Holland goes back to his corner, and they're like, come on, man, you can do this. Trust me, you got it. And Holland's like, yo, you don't think I can hear you guys? I hear you. But if something was going to happen, it probably would have happened. Like, so at that point, like, he's not even really talking to his corner the entire fight. And then right before the last round, he fucking kind of snaps at them for trying to encourage them and says, dude, I hear you, but if something was going to happen, it would have happened. He had already quit on himself before the 5th round. Already quit on himself. Holland gets taken down instantly. He's still being goofy. Oh, no, Holland gets a takedown, right? Holland takes Brunson down. And then as he takes Brunson down, and he's talking to Khabib still. And he's like as he takes him down, he's not looking to do any damage, do anything. He just starts talking to Khabib, saying, like, no matter what, like, that's a win right there just for taking him down. He's not looking to win this fight. He takes him down and starts talking to Khabib instantly. Brunson gets up. Holland continues his goofiness, and he gets taken down again. Brunson lets Holland up with about 12 seconds left to go in the fight. This is the craziest part. It's about 12 seconds left to go in the fight. But as I told y'all, man, he quit. Before the round even started, he was already quit. He was already done. He snapped at his corner like, yo, I hear you. But if it was going to happen, it would have happened. So Brunson lets Holland up. He had him down on the ground. He just stood up, walked away, and was like, come on. And Holland stands up and just waves it off, walks away. And, like, Brunson is, like, smiling, like, what the fuck? And, like, he was like, nah, man, like, and just, like, wait. And Holland's just like, nah, man, waving him off. Like, he's done fighting. Mind you, earlier in the night, Grant Dawson thought he was losing that fight. He was actually winning on the judges' scorecards, but he thought he was winning. But he thought he was losing. And with 10 seconds left, as they were in that position, and Santos thought he could just coast to a victory, Grant Dawson fucking swung with all fucking life and knocked this man out and got the victory. Kevin Holland waved it off. No. With time left on the clock, Brunson was like, come on. And he just waved it off. It's fucking weird to see. I'm at the end of the fight like, dude, what did I just see? Like, he's talking all like, I'm going to finish Brunson spectacularly. Talking shit about how Adesanya is supposed to be this great fighter, but, like, it was like, looks like he got outstruck. And then he just got taken down and beat up. And then you just got taken down and beat up. You got taken down. You had no idea what to do until you decided to know the exact thing to do to get right up to your feet. It was so weird. Like, whenever he decided to get to his feet, he instantly got to his feet. But more than not, he chose to lock his legs around Brunson and stay in that position. It's pretty weird, man. It's pretty fucking weird. Holland was done before that last round. Honestly, felt like he was done before the fight started. I felt like he was done. I didn't like his energy at the face-off after the weigh-ins. And, like, Brunson's trying to look him in his eyes, and he's just, like, got his head down looking at Brunson's chest, and he's just, like, saying something to Brunson, like, talking shit. But it's just, like, he wouldn't look Brunson in the eyes. And then when Brunson turned, he instantly looked up to Brunson's eyes. I was like, that's weird. To me, that meant a lot. And then it seemed like he was done, like, before this fight started. But Brunson wants Paulo Costa next, and I think he wins that fight. I think that'd be a good fight. They should book it. But I think that's the best fight for either of them. Or I think that's the best fight for Paulo next. I think they should book that fight. I'm honestly not interested in seeing Kevin Holland fight in the UFC again. Like, after the fight, he came out and said, I never said I wanted to be champion. All right, so before he beat Jacare, maybe some time before he even fought Jacare, he was talking about how he's not in here to be a champion. He just wants to, like, make money and, like, just do his thing. He's not about, like, being a champion. That's not what he's here for. This is like before he was put in the rankings. He was saying that's not what he's here for. Oh, shit. I'm sorry I paused, because it's just like all of a sudden my laptop just went black. Or just like went gray for no reason. It was like, oh, they're telling me that there's updates available. I don't know. It just did that. But yeah, I'm not into. He's talking about how he never chose. So, like, this is where I was, yeah. So Holland, as I was saying. So Holland is saying he never wanted to be champion. But before he was in the top 15, that's what he was saying. He doesn't want to be champion. He just wants to make money. Once he was put in the top 15, once he beat Jacare, Adesanya was there. He was instantly confident enough that he was saying he's coming for Adesanya. He just needs a few more fights, and he's coming for Adesanya. He suddenly was talking about fighting the champion a lot. And even after, just leading up for this, he was like, Adesanya's not even the real champion anymore. He's like, I thought if you lose, you're no longer the champion. So he's the ex-champ. Like, he's talking all shit. Like, half of the lead up for this fight was like him trying to set up the fight with Adesanya for the belt. That's what half of this lead up was, him talking shit about Adesanya. And trying to set up that fight. And then he goes up there and embarrasses himself. And then he says, oh, I never said I wanted to be a champion. I'm just going to keep being me. Like, he says he's just going to keep doing what he's doing. You're just going to keep ignoring your corner. You're just going to keep, like, I don't know. So, like, I'm not interested in seeing Holland fight in the UFC again. Like, he can maybe go box Jake Paul or, like, fight somewhere where all the other people on the roster aren't, like, top fighters and they aren't trying to progress in their careers and, like, make something of themselves. Like, these people have dreams of being champion. They want to do that. And he's like, I never said I wanted to do that. I just want to be here. Like, is what he's kind of saying. Like, I never said I wanted to be a champion or anything. So why are you fighting Derek Brunson? If you don't want to fight for the belt, like as you move up, and you're like, I never wanted to be champion. Like, so what are you here for? I don't honestly at this point don't want to see. Like, I'd watch him fight Jake Paul if he did that. I'd watch him fight bare knuckle, because I don't feel like any of those wins or whatever is prestigious of, like, a UFC championship. So I feel like he's just taking up space on the UFC roster by just not giving a shit about any of this, clearly. So I'm just not interested in seeing him fight in the UFC again at this point. He's going to have to, like, change a lot before I want to see him fight in the UFC. I think he should fight elsewhere. That's what I'm into. Next week, you got UFC 261, I believe. Or 260. I believe it's UFC 260. I put these notes in here, and both times I put UFC 261. Next week is UFC 260 with Stipe Miocic taking on Francis Ngannou. He's defending his belt against Francis Ngannou in a rematch. I mean, I'm going Stipe. I'm a big Stipe guy. You guys know, I was there when he knocked Daniel Cormier out and then river danced on that nigga. I was there. So, like, I'm going with him. I know that Francis Ngannou's boxing has gotten better since then. I don't know what's going on. I used to just, like, be able to get the fight card on Google, and it was there for a second. Like, all the other fight cards are there, but when I click it, it goes away. Here we go. We got it on the website. Oh, so outside of that, well, so for the heavyweight, I mean, it's Stipe versus Francis. Francis could knock him out with one punch. Like, we know he could do that to anybody. So there's definitely a chance Stipe could win. Francis could win. It's heavyweight, but I'm going with Stipe. In the co-main event, you got Tyron Woodley versus Vicente Luque. Man, I don't want to see it, honestly. I think Luque is going to knock Woodley out, or he's going to at least beat him up, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it, but unfortunately, it's probably going to happen. Got the return of Sugar Sean O'Malley taking on Thomas Almeida. I'm going to go with Sugar Sean. I think he's pretty good. Got Jamie Malarkey versus Kama Worthy. I don't know. I got to look into it. We don't have to go through every single fight. Just the fights that I'm excited about. You know what I'm saying? Just the fights that get me hard. We got, just because I said that, we got Modestas Bukauskas taking on Mikhail Oleksichuk. That should be an interesting light heavyweight belt. I like Modestas Bukauskas. You got women's flyweight Jillian Robertson back in action against Miranda Maverick, the PhD student Miranda Maverick, who looked pretty good in their last fight. She got a stoppage. The doctors came in and stopped her opponent, had a pretty nasty cut. think it was probably Lipsky. Was it? No, I don't. Maybe it wasn't Lipsky. I'm speaking out of turn, or speaking out of my mind. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, I like Miranda Maverick. Jillian Robertson is really good. She's been known to fold from time to time, but I think that's gonna be a real good fight. Then we got some good fights coming up next week, ladies and gentlemen. They got Shane Young here to fight Omar Morales Ferrer. But my thing here is Shane Young. They just canceled. I did mention, or maybe I didn't mention, Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega was supposed to be on the card next week. That fight is canceled because Volkanovski has tested positive for COVID. This last card, yesterday's card, there was supposed to be Gilbert Gillespie versus Brad Riddell, who was also out of that same fight camp. That fight was canceled due to COVID protocols. So I'm curious if this fight with Shane Young is also going to be canceled, because I'm pretty sure Shane Young fights out of the CKB camp. So maybe that fight will be canceled, or maybe they'll take out Shane, give him a replacement fight, but who knows? Who knows, ladies and gentlemen? But I'm going to get up out of here. It's episode 83. Hakai. It's your boy Jermaine Babbles. I'm going to give you guys social medias. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast at Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcasts play. And if you guys are listening on YouTube right now, hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys want to add me on Xbox, go ahead. My gamer tag is SauceSports414. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and cop some merchandise at teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And check out the merchandise. Just go ahead and support the podcast in other ways. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. And if you guys are on TikTok, go ahead and follow me at Babylon5Podcast. This is Jermaine Event, episode 83, Hakai. And I hope you guys are, taking care of yourselves, staying safe. I've been seeing long lines at the bars this weekend. You guys are gross. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other, man. And I'll see you guys next week. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.